Hello, everyone. Just when we thought the dust had settled on the Gabadia divorce, the receipts are back out. And now we're not talking about the Portia and Simon Gabadia. We're talking about Falynn and Simon Gabadia. Simon is claiming he has proof of the affair that ended it all, but Falynn is firing back with a timeline that tells a very different story. Here in 2026, yeah, that's right, and the Shade Room helped us capture it all. Stay tuned for more. Yes, guys, it's 2026. And why are we talking about Falynn and Simon of all people? Simon Gabadia, ex-husband to Falynn Pena and ex-husband to RHOA Portia Williams, will always find that moment to interject himself into anyone's conversation, especially when his name is mentioned. Now, only to make himself relevant. Well, recently, Simon has been going back and forth with Falynn, and her current husband, and we'll talk about him later, said that he wanted to interject a moment or climb into this bantering between Falynn and Simon. However, this back and forth was reignited by Falynn's recent interview where she discussed the end of their marriage.
And was talking to Portia inappropriately. The day that we filmed, the first day that we filmed together at our home, was the day that I knew. When they had asked me to do the show, I had never seen it. What Simon and I did was we binge watched like the past few seasons or whatever prior to us going on the show. When we agreed to do it, we were just in our bedroom watching specifically this one episode. She did this move where she jiggled all that body fat that she has, whipping the eggs. And so I thought it was hilarious. And Simon and I both thought it was so funny. Cut to her coming over. Now, that day we wrapped, right? Lights cut off. Production is, packing up. Me, Lauren, and Tanya, we all go upstairs into my bathroom. Simon and Portia are downstairs by themselves. I'm talking about at least half an hour. I didn't think anything of it. He would say so many times as we're watching these episodes how much she looked like a... I always knew. I knew that Simon was...
Now, Simon claims he is going to present some of the physical evidence that he shared on his Instagram story. He is claiming that he didn't just rely on the CCTV captures. He learned of the cheating from the nanny, which the footage later confirmed. Now, this footage here means absolutely nothing to me because I don't know the figures and the shapes of the two people. But Simon also claimed that Falynn and Jalen were planning where to place a crib in a house where he was still paying for while she was pregnant with the child he said wasn't his. And he said he was a quote-unquote kind man, providing for an unborn child out of obligation, even while being betrayed. Now, Falynn said not so quick. She mentioned a timeline defense. Contrast Simon's claim with the sequence of events. Falynn has presented the quote-unquote 4-day argument. She addressed a popular online theory that Falynn basically admitted to cheating, but she claimed she only did so quote-unquote 4 days after he cheated. And she used a timeline of how quickly Simon and Portia went public. Falynn's narrative suggests that Simon's receipts are a distraction from the fact that he was already emotionally and physically involved with his next wife before their divorce was cold. And then she brings up the claim that Simon was bashing Portia's appearance to her, suggesting he was playing both women against each other simultaneously. Let's take a listen.
Like a dog, and who could wake up next to that face in the morning without makeup? So I'm thinking nothing of it, right? But of course, now I get it, men always talk shit about the woman that they're actually screwing. So we're upstairs and I'm waiting on her to come upstairs as we're all talking. 30 minutes about there passes and Portia finally joins us in my bathroom. And out of nowhere, she does the jiggle fat move. And I said, how did you know that I laughed at that? How did you know specifically to do that to make me laugh? Me and the girls were having the conversation and she came up in the middle of the conversation and just whipped out they had already been pillow talking or whatever the case was. That was the first clue, I feel like, of every woman's intuition where we see it, but we don't really say it. So many times as we're watching these.
That's why Falynn knew that Simon and Portia was up to something, because with or without makeup, Portia looks like nobody dog. And as I mentioned earlier, Jalen Banks, who is Falynn's current husband, inject himself into this banter between Falynn and Simon, and he said that Simon has been through 4 marriages, and he asked the audience at that time, if the same thing happens in 4 different marriages, is it the wives or the husband? And he said he only spoke out because Simon mentioned their daughter, shifting the focus from quote-unquote cheating receipts to quote-unquote family respect. I believe Simon had ulterior motives when he married both American women, Falynn and Portia. It seems he aimed to gain exposure to American television, but many viewers are now skeptical of his intentions as they recognize his lack of moral integrity. Based on the information I gather from various perspectives, the reality is that all parties involved may have made mistakes, and they're wrong. It appears that Simon and Falynn were still married when Simon announced his relationship with Portia. Additionally, Falynn began her relationship with Jalen while she was still married to Simon. There's no justification or a 4-day rule when it comes to infidelity. I want to ask you, is Simon a wronged husband finally showing his truth? Or is he a bitter ex who can't move on, or even after another marriage and a divorce? Let me know in the comments below.
Okay, that's it. And thank you for watching, fam. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. The drama never sleeps, and neither do we. Catch you in the next one, and bye for now.